All right, good morning in Christchurch, Cranbrook. We're here with the incredible people from the Kaibab Estates West Volunteer Firefighting Department. They are located in Arizona, and you probably have seen them on CNN or some other clips that have made their way on YouTube or in different memes. And this wonderful group of people were able to stop and help a family that had suffered a tragic accident. The entire family of the Stone family was killed, and the youngest child, Alex, who was 6, was a survivor. And Tracy Zinn is here with us, along with Violet Gunn and with Jessica Pusas and Charlie and Lori Granger, who were part of the response team for the department. And Tracy helped little Alex get out of the crash. And about 5 days later, the department received word that Alex was missing his Cookie Monster stuffed animal, and the department sprang into action again, went and looked for the Cookie Monster and found it in the wreck and brought it to where Alex was. And I just want to ask, and first of all, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your incredible service to your community and your incredible witness to us. So thank you for being here. Can you paint the picture first, Tracy, maybe about meeting Alex and getting him to safety?
I was just on my way to go to the doctor's appointment that I had for a physical that day. And first, it was kind of stormy day. And it's an hour drive to go, but I left 3 hours early just for some reason. I didn't know why. And I ended up running into this wreck right after it happened. And it was a very bad wreck. So I pulled over and stopped, and there was other people there, but I threw on my reflector shirt and went down to see if I could help. And the car was just pretty much destroyed. And everything was just crunched except for little Alex. There's one little compartment right behind the driver's seat and his dad. And there wasn't a lot of stuff behind him to squish him into the rest of the wreck. So someone already cut his seatbelt off, but his leg was broken, his arm was broken. They were kind of twisted around and everything inside, and he had a cut. I couldn't tell how bad he was cut. I just needed to get him out. So I ended up pulling him out the front window, and he was in the back seat. So that's how bad he was in the front. And I told him, you got to be tough. They get you out. So there was other people there, and they helped straighten his arm as I pulled him up and out of the window. And then someone else helped straighten his leg as I pulled him out and everything, and I picked him up. And then just held him. And I told everyone to grab parts of him and just stabilize him and cradle him into my arms. And then I just walked down and sat on a truck seat, not a seat, but a bottom step, and waited for the ambulance to come. And then it was probably 15 minutes, and the ambulance came, and everyone helped slide him over and get him on the stretcher. But first they put the seat collar on him and everything like that. I was talking to him the whole time, and people were trying to help and brought blankets and stuff like that. One man tried to give him, offered water, but no, we don't want to do that because we don't know if he's got any internal injuries. But mostly getting him out, I could see he wasn't bleeding anywhere else bad. So it wasn't like he was going to bleed out. There was no bad cuts anywhere, and he was just broken up real bad. And so he was really, really tough little guy. He was crying at first. He stopped crying, and he was just very, very tough. And he just stayed with me, and he stayed awake, and he kind of flopped around a little bit, but I cradled his neck in my arm and my elbow, and we just waited. And then I got him off to the hospital with the ambulance drivers. And then I went on to my physical, and I got there 15 minutes early. I told the doctor about it because I was all bloody and stuff. So, oh, okay, well, that's okay. You made it on time. So when I was coming back, well, also when I was there, there was a lady there and I told her, take a picture of this and send it to Lori at Kaibaba State's Fire Department. And so she did that. So Lori got a heads up on the accident. And that was the only way I could communicate. And so that was just my part in it
Wow,
until
that's an
later.
incredible thing.
And that was when Jessica's part, and she took me with her to go to the hospital, and I'll let her tell that part because that's better coming from her.
Yeah, Jessica and you and Violet, 5 days later is what I've been reading, were contacted by the hospital. Is that right?
No, it was actually through the tow company that had towed the vehicles that day there at the accident. They had taken the car to, the yard, and the family had contacted them looking for this stuffed animal. They couldn't find it in the vehicle, and I know one of the employees there, so she had reached out to me since she knew I was there on scene that day. And I just, after when she first called me and said it was a Cookie Monster, I remembered seeing a blue stuffed animal that day on the hill, and so I told her, don't waste your time in the car because that's quite a job. I'm pretty sure it's still out at the accident scene. So that's when I went and got Violet and Jason, and we went out back to the crash scene and found the Cookie Monster.
And what was it like, Violet, when you got there? What did you see, and how did you find it amidst all of the debris of the scene?
So we did go to various spots thinking that it was where the accident was. And ending up when we did get there, we could see like still stuff from the both of the semi trucks and the car. So there was like various shoes, broken parts of the vehicles, and just various things. The blue Cookie Monster was actually hidden off in the bushes, and I could only see like a little bit of blue, and it looked fuzzy. So I ran up, grabbed it, held it up, and I said, hey, I found it.
And then what happened?
Then I gave it to Jessica. Jessica cleaned him up, and
I called the hospital to find out what if we were allowed to bring it, and to make sure Alex was still there, because we didn't get any information. After he left the scene that day, we don't usually get any kind of follow-up information. So I just called the hospital in Flagstaff, and they transferred me up to the floor he was on, and they told me he was being transferred out the next day, and they didn't know what time. It could be early in the morning. So I didn't want to risk missing him because he's going back to another state. And the hospital's about an hour, a little over an hour's drive from where we are. So I just took it home and cleaned it up as best I could, washed it up, and that's when I went and picked up Tracy, and we drove up to the hospital and delivered it to him that evening.
There's in one of the reports I read, there's this beautiful picture being painted of, is it you or Tracy holding the Cookie Monster out of the window as you were driving so that the air would kind of dry him on the way. And, it
Yes.
also put me in mind that did actually happen. And
Yes.
it put me in mind, this is a, what, when you get called as a firefighter, and keeping in mind that you are all volunteers, what motivates you to do something like this, to pull over the car and go and help when there's a wreck? What motivates you to go back and to look for that stuffed animal? Why was it important for you to go back and find this stuffed animal for little Alex?
For me, it was that he had lost so much that day. It was a tough call on all of us. We all really felt the effects of that one afterwards. And we didn't know much about it after he left, but in my mind, he was just this little kid all alone, and his whole family was just gone. So if I could bring him just a little bit of joy with his favorite stuffed animal, or any kind of comfort in any way, it was worth all of it for me.
Now, there's another part too. When Lori got the picture of Alex in my arms, that's when she did her part and kind of put the pieces together. And Lori can tell you about that.
I did
Yeah,
receive
Lori,
a picture of Tracy. I received a picture of Tracy holding Alex on scene. So when I received that picture, I was sitting in my living room and I looked at my husband. I said, we need to go to this. It's not really our district out there on the interstate, but we do a mutual aid backup with the Ashford Fire Department. Ashford Fire Department was on scene. They did have 2 people on scene. But when I saw that picture, it just really, it hit me in the heart that I needed to go because the rest of the family was deceased and I just needed to be there. So we did get a call from Lifeline as well. The one ambulance was taking Alex, but they called us in because they wanted a second crew on scene to help the Ashford Fire Department with the rest of the family. But I think what really drew my heart is when Jessica sent me a picture of Tracy and Alex and the Cookie Monster and Jessica. And when I saw that picture, I just had this overwhelming urge in my heart because I'm recapping what happened. Tracy left 3 hours early. The accident happened and it was devastating, but then somebody at Murphy's Towing just happened to know Jessica. Jessica just happened to remember the blue thing on the mountainside, and just all these things kept happening. And for me, it was a praise God moment at every step of the way. It was God that instituted Tracy to go early. It was God that motivated Jessica to go find it or remember it and go find it. And even Murphy's Towing decided that the grandparents didn't need to come to that car and see the car. They really wanted to find the Cookie Monster without the parents going through the car. So when that picture was sent to me, I was just overwhelmed with the story, and I had to write the story, so I did.
So you first did the story, is that right?
That is correct. I did a Facebook story. We did give the grandparents permission to write the story as long as I didn't use Alex's name. So I did write the story and I did not use Alex's name, but then the news channels started calling and wanted to do interviews, and they were interviewing the grandparents and us, and we heard about the GoFundMe page, and we just wanted to blow it up. We wanted this child to be able to go to school and to get all of his hospital bills paid. And we don't know how insurance works when the entire family passes away. We don't know how insurance works and where is he going to live and who's going to take care of him and how's he going to go to school. And all of us just have such a big heart that we decided we needed to do this and we needed to get it out there. So it's been one interview after another. It's really blown the Facebook page up so that Alex is going to be okay. We saw the CNN report where he was talking, and we just all felt that he's going to be okay. And we're very happy about that.
That's beautiful. What about you, Jessica and Violet? What motivates you all to do what you do? I mean, Violet, I'm not sure how many of your classmates are part of a volunteer fire department. I know that in your town, it's the reported population for Kaibab Estates is 1,173. Am I right about that? So how many how many of your classmates are involved with you? Are you the young one in the crowd?
I'm the only one in my school that actually is part of the fire department, other than one girl who is part of Ashford Fire Department, but that's mainly all.
And what motivated you to go looking for the Cookie Monster?
So what motivated me is that I didn't really know that this was gonna blow up like this, but Jessica said, do you want to go do Operation Cookie Monster? And I was like, sure, why not? I have nothing to do. I finished all my homework. I'm done with whatever I had to do that day. I was like, well, I'm just gonna be home all day, so I might as well just go with. So I went with, and wasn't sure really what I was looking for, other than it was a stuffed animal and it looked like a Cookie Monster. And I was like, okay. So I kind of went in there blindly looking for this thing, and finding out that I found it surprised me.
Pretty cool. And Jessica, do you often bring Violet into these little capers? Is that your role in her life, to be the person who pulls her along, or what is that like for you?
No, we pal around a lot here at the station and work on projects together and whatnot. Really that day, I was gonna go up and look for it. I had gotten a hold of our chief to kind of inform him of the phone call I had gotten and what I was gonna do. And so when he found out I was gonna go up there, he said, well, come get me, I'll go with you. It is kind of right on the side of, Interstate 40. So we went up and Violet was home, so I drug her along.
And just a little background on Violet, Violet was like 5 years old when I first got here. So she's growing up around all of us, and she gets away with nothing in town because she's got a big extended family here that makes sure she doesn't get in trouble in town. And she's grown up with all of us.
Right. You're living proof that it takes a village, Violet.
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit about the kind of transformation you believe that you've been able to catalyze in Alex's life? When I think about the gospel that we're going to be talking about today, it's from the Gospel of Luke, and it's two parables that Jesus tells. One is that the kingdom of heaven is like a shepherd who forsakes 99 sheep to go and rescue one sheep. And the kingdom of heaven is like a woman who lost a single coin, having 10 coins, and sweeps her entire house until she finds that one coin. And what I like about that, what I'm reading about it today, which you've helped me to see, is that as much as Christianity makes promises about life after death, it also makes promises about life before death, that God is involved in our life every day, and that there's a kind of way of grace that we can step into during these moments in which we live in an all too imperfect world in which bad things happen to good people. This grace becomes possible. Can you talk a little bit about that transformation, that gesture of bringing that Cookie Monster to Alex created for his life?
I think, when I look at it, my mother likes to make fun a little bit of the fact that all these news agencies are calling and wanting interviews over, a stuffed animal. And I said that it's not just a stuffed animal, it's a whole community, it's a whole piece. Had the stuffed animal piece not come into play, had Lori not wrote the story about us returning the stuffed animal, none of these news networks would have ever picked it up. The story wouldn't have gotten out there. The last I checked, I think Alex's GoFundMe was getting close to $100,000. And, none of that would have come about had it not been for a stuffed animal laying on the side of a hill after an accident. There's a lot of stories and a lot of accidents and a lot of things that happen every day. And I just feel like God put all of the pieces in place to help Alex on his journey and to go through what he's going to go through, and to help his family. And none of us know the why or the what. We just do what we can to help and to make it better, and to kind of rally an entire community around this child who just lost his family.
It's also of the idea that help one, you help many.
Say that again.
It's also of the idea that if you help one, you help many.
That's beautiful. Can you say more about that? I love that.
Well, we're hearing stories about people that have been transformed by this happening. I mean, we're down at the local gas station and people are saying, I'm just so inspired by this story. I I feel inspired, I feel uplifted, I feel good. And we're getting a lot of that. So helping this one little thing of helping Alex, it's just blown into a nationwide, that CNN was a nationwide outing. And so many people that we will never realize watching that may inspire them to go join a volunteer something to help someone else.
You know, that's so beautiful. You should say that because, you know, the one thing that you said, Jessica, that you said there are a lot, you know, that one stuffed animal made the change, but actually it was you who made that change. You and Violet and Tracy for pulling over and getting involved and then following through and following up and searching. You all did that because unfortunately in my profession, I have to see a lot of stuffed animals on the road. I have to see a lot of wreckage in this life, and I've seen a lot of death. And I know how precious it is when people step forward and do the kind of work that you all did. And I do know, in your story made a huge difference for me. I try to skim through CNN. I find it's the news these days is so depressing sometimes. And so I do a little bit and then I just move on to other things, or I try to read other things and try to just get about my day. And I was so grateful that I heard that story about you. And I want to thank you all for the incredible witness that you did and the way you've helped me see this gospel differently. And we wish you every blessing. We have made a good contribution to the GoFundMe. If there's anything we can do to help your volunteer fire department do the work that you need to do, please let us know. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
For helping Alex.
And just pray for us every call we go on, you know, with just that little extra word in there that keeps us all safe. We're a very lucky fire department. We've never lost anybody. We've all come back safely, and we ask for prayers while we're out there. We get prayers while we're out there.
Well, I totally get that. You can count on our prayers.
Thank you so much.